If you're a baseball fan, then you'll be very familiar with the legend that is Jackie Robinson. Thanks to Jackie's bravery in breaking the color barrier, we now have generations of fellow African Americans playing in Major League Baseball. Much has been said about him. However, no matter how great you might think he was as a player, let me tell you that Jackie was even more as a man. In this video, we'll dive into Jackie's legacy as an advocate for the advancement of Black people and even the African continent. The life of Jackie Robinson is one that many of us are aware of. Born in January 1919 in Cairo, Georgia, Jackie was born into a family of sharecroppers. He was the youngest son of 5 children, but he was always quick-witted. When you consider how he was raised, you'll get a sense of why and how Jackie was able to grow up into the racism-defeating icon he was. A year after he was born, Jackie's father left the family, forcing them to move to Pasadena, California. Being a relatively poor family in an affluent neighborhood, they were regularly excluded. The Robinsons were quickly introduced to the type of segregation that Jackie would spend the rest of his life fighting. Against all odds, Jackie enrolled at John Muir Technical High School in 1935. It was here that his athletic prowess really started to show, and soon enough, Jackie's older brothers, Frank and Mac, convinced him to pursue sports as an interest. In high school, Jackie pretty much did it all. He played football, basketball, and track, and even participated in field events. In 1936, Jackie won the Junior Boys Singles Championship in the annual Pacific Coast Negro Tennis Tournament. However, baseball was where he particularly excelled, and in 1936, he was also selected for the Pomona Annual Baseball Tournament All-Star Team. As his profile continued to grow, Jackie furthered his education, enrolling at Pasadena Junior College. Here, he continued his prolific athletic career, once again playing football, basketball, baseball, and track sports. Once again, Jackie excelled more in baseball. In 1938, he was elected to the All-Southland Junior College team for baseball and selected as the region's most valuable player. That same year, Jackie was one of 10 students named to the school's Order of the Mast and Dagger, Omicron Mu Delta, an honor awarded to students performing outstanding service and whose scholastic and citizenship record is worthy of recognition. Interestingly, it was also at this college that Jackie began to show signs of the no-nonsense, non-racist traits that led him to become a civil rights trailblazer. He was arrested for protesting against racial profiling on several occasions, and soon enough, he had already gotten a reputation for being combative and unaccepting of racial antagonism. After graduating from junior college in the spring of 1939, Jackie enrolled at UCLA, where he became the first athlete at the school to win varsity letters in 4 different sports. At a time when only a few Black players participated in college sports, Jackie was a trailblazer, leading his football team to an undefeated record and notching the school's football record for highest rushing yards per carry in a season. He also led the NCAA in punt return average for the 1939 and 1940 seasons. Interestingly, Jackie didn't do so well at baseball. He hit just 97 in his only season, and it seemed like he had lost that it factor that had made him such a star in his high school and junior college days. Jackie decided to drop out of college in the spring, just shy of his graduation. He got a job at the National Youth Administration, but after the agency ceased its operations, he went on to play football for the semi-professional Honolulu Bears. While his football career was starting to take off, America's involvement in World War II cut that short as he was drafted into the military. Jackie's military career was quite impressive, although it wasn't without controversy as well. He once again faced racial bias, and this time he spoke out against it. Things got pretty tense, even up to the point where Jackie was charged with public drunkenness, although he never actually drank. After his charge was reduced to insubordination, Jackie faced a court-martial, although he was acquitted. He ended up being transferred to Camp Breckinridge in Kentucky, where he served as a coach for Army athletes until he was honorably discharged in November 1944. While in Kentucky, Jackie met a former player for the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro American League, who encouraged him to go for tryouts with the team, and this would be the start of Jackie's legendary baseball career. In early 1945, while Jackie worked at Sam Houston College, he got an offer from the Monarchs to play professional baseball in the Negro League. He took the offer, but his time with the Negro League didn't last as he grew frustrated with the lack of a structured environment. All in all, Jackie played 47 games as a shortstop for the Monarchs, hitting .387 with 5 home runs. He also appeared in that year's East-West All-Star Game. At this time, Jackie had been looking into breaking into the big baseball leagues. Remember, this was a period when baseball was still predominantly white, so teams weren't necessarily offering up to take a black player. Nevertheless, he got an offer to play for the Montreal Royals of the Class AAA International League. This was the minor league side, but still, it represented progress for Robinson, who just wanted to take his talents to a much grander scale. Jackie's presence on the team was a bit controversial since the Royals trained in Florida, a racially segregated state. He wasn't allowed to stay at the team hotel with his white teammates, and even doing basic things like training was difficult since the organization didn't have a spring training facility. When the Royals went to play away games, stadiums would literally be locked because of Jackie. In Sanford, Florida, the police chief threatened to cancel games if Robinson continued training there. After much lobbying, the Royals were finally allowed to host games that involved Jackie in Daytona Beach. He made his debut at the City Island Ballpark in March 1946 in a game against the Royals' parent club, the Dodgers. A few games after his debut, Jackie was moved to second base from shortstop, and his performance got even better. In April of that year, Jackie made his professional debut for the Royals in a game against the Jersey City Giants at Roosevelt Stadium. This was the first time that the color barrier had been broken in a game between two minor league clubs. He ended the game with 4 hits in his 5 at-bats, with his first hit being a 3-hit home run that happened in the game's 3rd inning. Jackie also scored 4 runs, drove in 3, and stole 2 bases in the Royals' 14-1 victory. That season, Jackie ended up leading the entire league with a .349 batting average and a .985 fielding percentage. He was named league MVP, and he soon got overwhelming support from the Royals fan base. Jackie's 1946 season was so impressive that the Dodgers had to call him up. Just 6 days before the start of the 1947 season, they gave Jackie his call-up, and he made his Dodgers debut in a preseason exhibition game against the New York Yankees at Ebbets Field. That same month, Jackie made his major league debut at Ebbets Field in front of a crowd of 26,623 spectators. He didn't get a base hit in this game, but he walked and scored a run in the Dodgers' 5-3 win. Just like that, Jackie became the first player since 1884 to openly break the Major League Baseball color line. Although Jackie's debut was met with generally positive reviews, it didn't mean that all was rosy. There was still a lot of racism even within the Dodgers organization, with some players insinuating that they'd rather sit out than play alongside him. However, this was quashed when the organization's top brass stood alongside Jackie. Other teams also had biases against him, with some claiming that they would go on strike if Jackie was allowed to play. However, after a publicized mutiny, National League President Ford Frick and Baseball Commissioner Happy Chandler let it be known that any striking players would be suspended. Since some of these teams couldn't strike, they specifically targeted Jackie whenever he played. He was the recipient of rough physical play from opponents, and at some point he even got a 7-inch gash in his leg from a play. Nevertheless, Jackie continued to show class whenever he stepped on the plate. At the end of his first season, Jackie played 151 games for the Dodgers with a batting average of .297, an on-base percentage of .383, and a .427 slugging percentage. He had 175 hits, scoring 125 runs, including 31 doubles, 5 triples, and 12 home runs, driving in 48 runs for the year. He led the league in sacrifice hits with 28 and in stolen bases with 29. With all of this, Jackie was given the inaugural Major League Baseball Rookie of the Year award. To make things even better, the Dodgers won the National League pennant and went on to face the Yankees in the 1947 World Series. This meant that Jackie was also the first black player to play in the World Series. He participated in all 7 games, although the Dodgers sadly lost in Game 7. Jackie went on to have a stellar baseball career, even winning the championship in 1955. He eventually retired from Major League Baseball in 1956, cementing his legacy as a true icon of the game. Off the baseball diamond, Jackie continued to build his legacy as a civil rights icon. His first public stand for justice came in 1949 when he was asked by the House Un-American Activities Committee, or HUAC, a congressional committee created in 1938 to stamp disloyalty in America, to come to their committee and publicly denounce actor and activist Paul Robeson for his statement that black Americans wouldn't fight for America in World War II. While he did as he was told, Jackie also made sure to point out that issues such as police brutality, lynching, and injustice towards black people in courts should be stopped. From that moment on, Jackie Robinson, the baseball barrier breaker, was relentless in his attack on American injustice. He used his powerful platform to fight for civil rights in different ways, participating in marches and making public statements through both his words and his actions. As a black athlete, Jackie believed that he and his fellow black athletes needed to join the movement. He not only led, but he made sure others followed. In 1962, for example, he brought baseball star Curt Flood and boxers Archie Moore and Floyd Patterson with him to Jackson, Mississippi to give support to those risking their lives in the Deep South. The following year, he encouraged every black baseball player to join him in a Freedom Day demonstration to protest for civil rights. Jackie believed that black people should do everything short of violence to achieve their rights under the Constitution. And he was also a vocal proponent of black people getting the right to vote so they could elect leaders who extolled their values. Interestingly, Jackie's stand against racism wasn't just felt in the United States. After South African police gunned down 72 unarmed black men, women, and children in Sharpeville in March 1960, Jackie served as a chairman for an emergency action conference on South Africa. He opened the conference with a speech in which he made a direct link between the movement to end racism in the U.S. with campaigns against apartheid in South Africa. And to combat this terrible trend, Jackie and his fellow conference organizers put forward 24 actions that could be taken. These included boycotting, divesting, and sanctioning the country until a change was made. Even in death, Jackie's legacy remains strong. His son, David, became involved in both civil rights and the work of the Jackie Robinson Foundation from its inception in 1973. Before and after his father passed away, he contributed to the yearly jazz festival held at the Robinson residence. For almost a decade, the Jazz Festival was held in support of several civil rights initiatives, and then the foundation itself. David moved to Tanzania in 1983, and he has been doing immense work to improve community life in the country. Some of David's initiatives include Sweet Unity Farms, a coffee growing operation that supplies gourmet coffee to North America. He's also been involved in building the Beara Village Multimedia Education, Training, and Entertainment Center. This is an educational center for over 2,000 primary and secondary school students, as well as a training center for farmers, women's groups, and youth organizations. All of these ventures were launched through the Higher Ground Development Corporation, a development initiative that David leads as its managing director. Through his involvement with Sweet Unity, David has continued to assist local generations of coffee farmers for decades now. David is married to Rudy Mapunda from central Tanzania, and together they have 10 children. He splits his time between his family's coffee farm and their residence in Dar es Salaam, a seaside city. Jackie Robinson was more than just a baseball player. He was a beacon of hope for thousands. And through his impressive work off the baseball diamond, he's been able to impact millions of lives, both in the United States and Africa. In Malcolm X's autobiography, even Malcolm claimed to be Robinson's biggest admirer. They had a fascinating relationship, but we'll save that for another video.